Welcome back. This is M-Dog, and I thought that now is as good a time as any just to see how Kuori is looking. Let's get a little bit of a time in trolling Kuori. First thing, let's look at the rig we're using. We are just using a regular lure rig. And we're going to be starting off with the Hunter 002. We actually want the 1002, not the 002. We'll see if I've set this other one up right too. Both of them have 17.4 fluorocarbon liters. Yeah, this does have the 1002 on it. So what I did is I confused myself here. So on this one, what we want is the 1003. So we're going to start with these two very reliable hunter lures that are almost always going to be... I'll find it in a second here, don't worry. Here it is. Always going to be on the leaderboard here at Kuori. So let's get trolling and we can talk more about it as we go. Alright. I don't know, throw it 50, 60% out. That actually is a little far. If you're using a spinning rod, you probably want to do about 50%. With a casting rod, you really don't have to do it that far. We're going to start with our our friction brake on 18. Let's get this guy, get his retrieval speed up. And we'll throw that out there a little bit too. And once again, friction brake on about 18. And let's get moving around the lake here. Let's start off going this way since our lines are in that direction. So what we're going to try to do, since we have these fluorocarbon leaders on there, we will try not to spend... I think we might already have a fish on there. Try not to spend too much time close to the shorelines. With the idea... No, we don't. Okay. With the idea being that we don't, if possible, we don't want to hit the pike. And so that'll be the strategy. I need to be slowly setting up rods for our for burbot. And the question is, do we want to go Boonisons or just go with our carp rods? I guess we'll just go with our carp rods. So, golly, that's stronger than we need, but that's fine. We could throw... Let's just go with... we're going to go with like 17. Let's set up for classic pop. We actually want to just do basic bottom fishing on these. Alright, this will be a little annoying here as I try to get these set up. But it's so close to nighttime. I figure while we're doing trolling, might as well show you a little bit of testing for burbot as well. We'll test from the island. Someone was telling me they've caught a couple from the island lately, so that's a nice perch, by the way. When you troll fish, you really, to me, it's just about, yeah, it's great when you catch a really nice fish, but a lot of it is just having a decent bite rate. And even when you catch a lot of perch and stuff like that. Oh, this is a pike, by the way. So let's just aggressively get him as quickly as we can to lessen the chance that we're going to get cut off there. We know that our leader is not very strong for those pike teeth. All right. Of course, it's raining. There's all kinds of drama here. So I guess what we're going to do is continue to set up these rods for burbot. I don't have any real heavy. I like these types of sinkers for Kuori because I just feel like they're small and not going to be real visible. We're going to also do 17 to start off with on our burbot lines. And whatever hook is fine. I like 1/0 size. And we're going to do night crawlers on 2 and fish pieces on 1. Actually, we may try night crawlers, fish pieces, and then bait fish. Now that I think about it. So unfortunately, we've got to change all of these off of our carp setups. And this is where, for ease, I may purchase some like mid-level feeders for. I just feel like it's a waste to use carp rods and like damage carp rods on burbot for some reason. Like I think it's not necessary, you know. We're gonna put fish pieces on this one, and then we'll see if we can't get a good setup going for bait fish on the other. So I may get some like Model 1s, or I don't know, we'll look around. There's our first lake trout. That way we can have our burbot rod set up. Again, this is the price I pay because I sent all my nice feeder rods to my alt account thinking I could send them back and forth. Well, they are now locked in over there on my alt account, so. I like to, the other good thing about this is because we're catching a pretty decent bite rate of fish here, we have a chance of leveling up spin fishing a little bit, even when we don't catch the monsters. I think we'll just stay with these 2 hunters, by the way, until morning. If after we test for burbot, if we're still doing a little bit more trolling, then I might try a diver, something that will dive underwater a little bit. All right, so I think we've got 2 of the 3 rods set up. Yeah, that looks good. So what's the test on this? The problem we're going to run into, okay, 160. The test on this one goes up to 165. We'll try it on this. Honestly, bait fish, unless you put a smaller fish on there, bait fish rigs can get really heavy. So maybe we do the lighter 28 gram. Again, let's go. Gosh. Bait fish. That frickin' line. I don't need that heavy a line. Let's go with like 22. And am I really out of the 17 size? Well, we can do 19 till I can make another one. Let's do a 1/0 bait fish hook. And that roach has a little life on it. I think that'll be fine. I know some people like to troll just like around the island over there, but I think it's worth coming over here. I am going to, I want to be careful though, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't want to go too close to this side over here, so let's turn pretty rapidly. Get back into the middle, and we'll try to avoid the pike. Pike are decent silver and XP, but I don't really feel like losing hunter lures unnecessarily right now. With my luck, we'll get like a 1 kilo pike bite right through our... Alright, so I think we're good. We should be able to troll till like 11 p.m., so 2300 with a reasonable bite rate. Some people will occasionally troll all night, and you might get a bite or a fish or 2 during the night on an average night. I don't know why my friction break's so high. But the bite rate slows down so much that I think it's worth... It's a nice Ventus. I think it's worth, especially here at Kuori, fishing for burbot. And if you can get dialed in on a couple of burbot spots and rotate between them, you really can do really well silver-wise when the fishing's good here. I'm just keeping everything. Every little part of a silver counts, right? That drink went right down the wrong tube. Okay. We're catching plenty of fish that aren't markers, but we're catching some decent ones too. And if you look at the map, I mean, sometimes it is worth kind of staying in the deeper parts as much as you can, but I'm not sure what that comment on YouTube meant. You know, you can pretty much catch fish all over Kuori. Trolling, that is. I will sometimes loop around the island a couple times, though, before going back to the other side. At times, at least, in the deeper parts around the island, as well as sort of running up towards the dock. Not all the way to the dock, but running up towards the dock can be really good. I kind of wish we had, in fact, I think we'll turn here. See if we can make the turn. I kind of want to just go back through the island side, but from this direction. I think we need to change the line on at least one more of those carp rods. Let's cast it out this way. Excuse me. Still choking a little. Level 13 and catching common carp. Probably hooking into a carp he's not quite ready for, maybe. Alright, so we're getting to burbot time. So we're really just going to rotate around this island until it's time for burbot. I wanted to see... Alright, small line. This could be smaller. We're putting mono on there, and then we're just... Oh, is that small? That's like... Let's do this one. And then the 17 kilo. Okay. You see how it kind of feels like the bite rate did drop off. Past 2200 maybe. But it'll pick up again in the morning. And I think we'll just cast right into the 15-meter hole for burbot. I've heard that they're biting a little bit there at least. I'd say the most reliable spot, and it wasn't that long ago that I tried this, was, you know, from the finger over there towards the 10-meter hole from the dock, which you don't need a boat to do that, but all right, let's go ahead and get set up. So he broke his line fishing with cottage cheese. So it's probably a carp, I guess. I mean, it depends on how small the rig was. It could be that a really nice bream could do that. Is that another pike? Yikes. It always scares me when the pikes are out here. I'm going to start casting closer to the boat, I think. Okay. So let's get... let's get our... What in the world? We want to make sure there's not a PVA stick on there. I mean, I guess we want to kind of be casting like this. And y'all think like a 20-meter clip is long enough? Let's see where it looks like that lands. It's kind of hard to judge, isn't it? We'll try it and just see. I love how clear the water is. I'm going to do 25, I think, on this one. Might feel a little better about that. Let's get some light out here. And feeder leader, we'll do 25. I was just going to make some more, another leader at 17 kilo, just so that we have the same on all of our lines here. So we're going to put that 17 kilo. We did make a feeder leader, didn't we? Feeder leader. There's no way a bait fish setup doesn't use a feeder leader, right? Alright, so there's the first burbot of the night. Especially if you're like at level appropriate for Kuori, burbots are going to be your best friend. I think I want to get this at 25. We know they're at 25, right? So all right, let me see something. This looks like this is pulling from the... Hold on, we can figure this out. It's pulling from classic leaders. Common leaders. For bait fish? Wait, why would it do that, though? There it is. There's the one I just made. Type classic. Okay. I don't know why I'm having such a problem understanding that. We're fishing on a carp rod or a bottom fishing a feeder setup, but maybe there's a reason for that. All right, let's let that bait fish sink and see if we can supplement the income a little bit with a couple burbot overnight while we're waiting on trolling again. Is that all it's gonna sink? No, it's just sinking so slow. If we had a heavier weight, so the cast is 160, the fish only weighs 58, so we could certainly put a heavier weight on there. What I was worried about is sometimes you end up using bigger bait fish, you know. And we could look at the weekly burbot. I'm curious what fish they've been caught on. Golly, should we run a hunter jig step through that hole and try to catch a burbot? That's interesting. That is really interesting. Kind of need to watch those lines because burbot are not always easy to tell when they're on. Okay. So what I had heard was that night crawlers are working better than fish pieces right now. And so far that seems to have been confirmed by our experience here is also. Just trying to see if any burbot had been caught on bait fish. Recently. There are times when bait fish are just great for burbot, but this may not be that time, and it does look like night crawlers are outperforming fish pieces. Night crawlers again. Fish pieces haven't done anything. I want to try something. After we get this fish. Alright, that burbot's on, I think. I was hoping we'd see a big one, but I don't know that that's going to happen. So it looks to me like going straight across with night crawlers is the way to go. The 25-meter clip seems to be working good though. I didn't mean to eat cottage cheese. I'm going to give that bait fish a little longer. Okay. Let's go out there a little bit. Let's let that settle a little bit. Back in the day, I used to be able to jig step out of this hole, but I remember there was a trick to it and it wasn't easy. It may just be the position I'm standing in and where I cast to, but alright, so if we fish burbot here again, we'll go night crawlers 3 across and see if we can't get lucky on a bigger one. But they seem to be here, and on night crawlers at least, the bite rate's not too bad for burbot, but we need to get trolling. But those, even just those 4 burbot will definitely help. If you really want to hit it hard, you can also troll with 3 rods. I honestly just, what in the world? I honestly just don't know that I can deal with it right now. Sometimes what I'll do on the 3rd rod though is like an ultralight setup. We're going to start with these hunters some more, and then we'll see. I think last time I looked, at least, this was yesterday I believe, the can't remember what they're called. There was something on the records list for, it might have been for Kuori char, or was it, actually it might have been for lake trout. Had, oh, they're gone now. Or is it a new, it's a new week, isn't it? So they're not showing up. Okay. We're going to rotate back around and then we'll go to the other side. We've got longer to troll now since it's early in the day. Kind of going right up that hole where it's deeper. But let's see if I can remember what I was thinking of. It was one of the handmade cranks. I don't remember what depth it was. I'm thinking probably 50. Like we could try that. It's a little sad to take one of these hunters off. They're just so reliable here, but I think we will. And we'll probably take the 2 off once it's a little later in the morning, and we'll try that crank. But look at the bite rate on this thing, man. It's just constant. I guess if the other one doesn't start catching fish, we'll switch the other one. But I tend to have better luck on the other one catching Kuori char, which would just be so nice right now. Alright, we want to go ahead and start turning here. Remember, those lines are trailing behind you a good bit, but I've got them closer in than we did before. Now, if you end up finding, especially with 3 setups with night crawlers, that the burbot are just consistent like that, it might be worth staying a little longer on the burbot, because they will continue to bite oftentimes till 8, 9 a.m. pretty reasonably. Couple of perch. Pretty good perch, but perch nonetheless. Alright, let's hit 8 a.m. as our target for trying that crank for a little bit. I think it's going to be slower bite rate, but it might catch some interesting... Might have a chance of catching something nice and big. We're getting a lot of A lot of small stuff on these hunters right now. Remember, we only have 17 fluorocarbon liters. So we'll see how big this pike is. Pretty nice pike. But this isn't, it's not like we're using very advanced gear here. I mean, they're steelhead, so I mean, I get that this is bait casting setup, so it's not like you'd have this at right when you get to Kuori necessarily, but they're also very affordable compared to late game gear. And I'm intentionally using the Model 1 and Super Duty, Siberia Super Duty, just because they're also very affordable, sort of mid-game, very attainable casting rods for folks. So I do have some nicer casting rods. I have both the Evora, Heaven's Creek Evora, as well as the Heaven Creek Armada, which I love those two rods, and I have some nicer reels to go with them, but for trolling Kuori, that feels like, you know, you have to repair that stuff after you use it for a while. It doesn't feel like that stuff's really necessary. Now, if I was standing in one spot casting, I'd probably get a really nice setup going with the black box, which, if you'll notice, it has a top line of 11 kilos. So it's not super strong for Kuori, but it's really fun to use. I think it's just like the perfect rod for here. Perfect reel for here. But these steelheads are great. And these steelheads are great to use at Wolcott as well. I really like them a lot. Sometimes it's worth, when you're in a really good spot, like it's worth letting the spoon sink a little bit before you start the trolling motor back up. So, you know, stopping it sometimes, letting them sink so they actually get to the bottom. If you just keep trolling, they don't have time to sink. They kind of follow towards the surface behind you. Well, there is no doubt the Hunter 2 here has been outperforming the 3. So I think what we do is we reward the Hunter 2 by keeping it on there for a while. And let's see what it feels like to put the handmade balsa crank 50 foot on there just for a little bit. You can't cast those anywhere near as far as you can a heavy spoon or something, so that should actually dive. Is it not diving? So the boat's not going fast enough to make it dive? Is that what we're saying? I guess it's down fairly deep now. I don't really know. We'll give it a few minutes. If nothing happens, we'll switch to something else. You did notice, or you may have noticed, that I like this Satori 22 gram 10. We could try that, see if we can get a char. But it's always good to look on the Kuori char. So some of the minnows, again, those sink. Vico, a lot of the very reliable lures seem to be doing doing some work. But those are also the lures that people are going to use first. It's early in the week. People are just trying stuff to see what's working. Those are the old reliable ones. Tell you what, we'll rotate around. If we haven't caught another, caught a fish on that sinker by then, that's very experimental for me to be trying that right now. I think it might not be the best choice. The funky minnows are good. Terminators can be good at Volkov especially, I would say. There's the original minnows that we saw on the leaderboard. But it might be worth trying, like remember when hypnotic creeks were the big deal? Maybe like a 22 gram Satori. I think it was this one, the 10 that had caught a fish on there, or was on the records list. Oh, we do have a fish on here. Right? Yeah. Alright. Really small Arctic char. Let's try that Satori here. See if that does anything. See what that looks like. Nice little lake trout. Oh, look at that grayling. Alright, well, I'll give the Satori a little longer. I suppose. We're going to throw night crawlers out there, I guess. I don't know, I kind of want to try that. Weren't there some new... Yeah, those are 4 gram. We can do, what, test up to 5 gram? Kind of want to try those new, these like Volkov lures or whatever. See if we catch anything on them. Yeah, we've got something on that. Cool. We're rocking and rolling now. I don't know, I just find when you've got a decent bite rate, it's hard to ever catch anything on your third line. There we go. There we go. So this ultralight setup will give us a little more XP. So ideally you're wanting to catch the smaller species of fish so that you can actually get a marker. It'll give us a big bonus to XP if we can catch a you know, a nice grayling would be awesome. Even a perch is fine. Oof. We're going to keep the trolling motor on here. I don't know if we're going to actually have to chase this fish down or not, but it's a reasonable amount of power. And remember, we have a very weak leader on this ultralight compared to some of the fish in the water, so you got to be a little careful. And that is a marker lake trout. It's kind of nice. Okay. As we do circles around Kuori. I guess we'll just go ahead and go this way. Day goes by pretty fast when you're trolling. Well, this video has ended up being longer than I initially anticipated, but it's been fun. I've actually enjoyed this. I haven't used trolling as a method of fishing in quite a while, so it's good to do this every once in a while. Some of my first exposure to the game was actually watching someone else stream it, or might have been a YouTube video, I'm not sure, but I saw someone, might have been a little under geared or something, but just like chasing a fish around Kuori for ages while they were trolling, just trying to get the fish to tire out. It's a nice Arctic there. That is really nice. Oh, shoot. A mistake I've made plenty of times before. You can't start trolling if your third rod is cast out. So you have to start the trolling back up before you cast the third rod out. This little Volkov spoon, no complaints. It's been quite nice. Just something else to do. That's another fish. You catch a really nice Vendus on this ultralight and be happy about it. Overall, I would say the Satori has been a little slow compared to the Hunter, but honestly, the Hunter 3 wasn't doing quite as well as the Hunter 2 has been doing anyway. So the only thing about the Hunter 3 is I feel like pretty decent chance of attracting the Kuori char, which is just whew, that looks like a nice fish on the Satori as soon as we start talking about it. Which is just big XP, big silver. Definitely one of the fish you're going for here. Let's see what's on this, if it's reasonably good. It's really a tough decision. We did get points in spin fishing on whether or not to stay with these or to switch it up again here in the final stretch of the day. I think we're going to stay where we are, though. The only thing I didn't try is like some of those minnows, the sinkers. Might be worth doing that. If you're spending some additional time here, it might be worth cycling through some other options, but spoons work so good right now, it seems like. Ooh, there it goes again. I don't think it's too big. Yeah, we can stop the trolling motor. All of a sudden the bite rate and the quality of fish has increased a little bit here. It's another lake trout. Lake trout are the most common of, like when you think about the char, Kuori char, Arctic char. I'm missing one. Grayling, but that's not what I was thinking of. Savon trout. Savon trout. Out of all those, the lake trout are definitely the most common, and probably the... I know that they're the least amount of silver of those. Maybe the least amount of XP as well. They're not bad. They add up for sure. But you'll see the most lake trout. Like if Kuori char are really biting, or sometimes there'll be times when Savon or Arctics are really biting. Like those are definitely can be some pretty special moments. Although I've seen that more often when I've found spots that I was casting into. Not that it doesn't happen with trolling, but it feels like trolling, you're just kind of such a crapshoot on what you're going to hook into. We do have 47 fish, but remember, I've kept everything. Some of which will be turned into fish pieces. Hmm. You see, for the most part, though, we have avoided the pike. Which is always nice. We'll go a little farther this way before flipping back around. It's a nice grayling. Someone just caught, prison just caught a 1.6 grayling. Are we not trolling? Did I stop it? Oh boy. Okay. My fault. Been hearing that spot at Tuba with the big-headed and buffaloes are still doing pretty well. I guess some more switching around baits has been happening, but overall pretty similar to what we were using, but it's tempting to go try that again. If I do make a second video or stream fishing tonight, I'm thinking I might go back there. Alright, let's throw for this final push here. Let's throw the pretty one back on. I'm going to try to drag it right through 15-meter hole here. You can always stop the trolling motor even if your hands are busy. You just can't start it again once you throw this line out. Arctic. So we want to sort of stay snug up against this wall all the way through that hole for the lures to go through there as well. Hunter 1003 has been pretty slow. Hunter 2's been reliable, catching a lot of small stuff, but it's kept it more action-packed. See how the spoon started at the bottom and now it's slowly rising as we pull forward. We've got 2 fish on here. Little guy. A lot of little stuff. Now we want to turn in pretty sharp to the left here towards town. Kind of drag it that way a little bit. And we really haven't caught anything very special, but it's been consistent and it's been decent. And even just with these guys, you know, we're getting enough experience where we are moving the XP bar a little bit, even here at level 36. So it's not bad XP. I mean, if you're just getting to Kuori and you can put together something where you've got enough power to actually troll a couple of lines, you will definitely hit the silver and the XP at a decent rate right now. But I have not been impressed with the Hunter 1003 today. I think if I was doing it another day, I would do the Hunter 2 and then something like the I don't know, maybe the Funky Minnow, something like that. See if that gets any bites. Trying to decide if we've gone over an hour now. Trying to decide if I want to do a little bit more burbot fishing with night crawlers straight across, just to see if anything happens with that. I don't know that the ooh, there's a pike. I don't know that the Kuori char are even biting a whole lot right now. Perch. .4 on spin fishing. Gotten a few fractions of a point today. Got thunder showers in my area tonight. And I've enjoyed using this Volkov lure type 1 4-gram 004, but it would be worth rotating through a couple of the other small ones as well, just to do some testing. Sorry, I just want to make sure we're not getting any tornadoes or anything right now. want to see just how decent the burbot are right now. Definitely with night crawlers. Let's spread them out a little bit. Alright, let me go just check on the weather real quick. 1 second. I apologize. I try not to do that during videos when I'm recording, but I just needed to double check the weather. Oh, that was weird. It's like we almost had a fish on, I guess, when I picked that up. Give it another, just a couple minutes here. And then I will wrap this video up. Go see if we made any silver. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea, especially early in the night when you first get your couple of burbot lines in. You could do a little casting, you know, even casting up in that direction or out here and just doing a jig step with a spoon, or sometimes you can get, you know, like one more lake trout or whatever towards the end of the night before it gets to be real late in the night. The weather has been nice. Looks like it's going to be rain. So we've had some good weather for the last day and a half or so we've been trolling here. Now the burbot seems really slow. Got those slow burbot. If we could see him, we'd see the lighting. The lighting of our beeper, or our blinks there. But I think that tree's going to be blocking it. Go ahead and give you the update on if we made any silver, and then we'll head out to the burbot lines and just check them one more time before we wrap it up. We could probably hit this. No, we didn't. None of our lake trout were big enough. I was going to say if we would have stayed longer, but we'd have had to start hitting bigger ones. We did get the burbot order, which is nice. That's 18 silver. What was this other perch order? Oh, that's a trophy perch. So 212 silver. It's not bad. 212, not bad at all. Let's go check those burbot lines. And then I will say adios. Okay. Not a big one, but it's a burbot. So they are here. They are here. Give it a second here. Make sure it's really on there. Yeah, it's on there. All of them seem to be about the same size right now, like right around 1 to 2 kilos. The markers that we're catching on the burbot. We haven't seen anything like showing, you know, promise of being really nice and big. Okay. As always, thank y'all for watching. It's always good to get a little check on Kuori on how things are looking with trolling. Not the best of session, but level up spinning some, make a little bit of silver. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.